All right, this is SFBarkast. I am Jeff Cleary.
I am Andrew Louder.
And Andrew, where are we today?
We are back at the Gestalt house.
Yes, exactly. And for the hardcore Barcast fans, they're immediately saying, wait a minute, but you've done that bar before.
In fact, it might have been episode 1.
It might have been episode 1. But
and then again later.
We are back because it was closed for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And as many people know, this is probably my favorite bar close to my apartment.
Right.
So
it's been a very trying time.
Which means that for the last 2 weeks, I've just been sort of like wandering the streets aimlessly like a fucking zombie.
Right.
I would go into other bars
right.
and like sit there and have a drink and just be like, I'm sorry, this just doesn't feel right. And then walk out.
I've never done this before. Please don't judge me harshly.
I love my wife.
Wait, I love my bar.
So we were like sitting across the street at Kilowatt waiting for this place to be open.
Exactly.
And
like excited children on Christmas morn.
Right. And, you know, for people who don't know, like you're a tall guy, right?
I suppose.
And, you know, I'm like, what, maybe 5'11", 6 feet.
Sure.
You're what, coming in at 6'7"?
Yeah, something like that, sure.
Somewhere around there.
Right.
All I can compare to like me coming back into this bar after they had been closed for like 2 weeks,
right,
is that scene in A Force Awakens where Han Solo like walks into the Millennium Falcon and he goes, "Chewie, we're home." and yeah, you're right. I just compared Andrew to a space ape, but whatever.
Exactly.
But we have our like spaceship back.
Hey, as Star Wars characters go, I'd much rather be compared to Chewie than say a Jar Jar Binks or something like that.
Oh yeah, or like what character do you hate the most of in Star Wars?
Oh gosh, well I mean
Jar Jar Binks has got to be like number one for like
probably.
If you had a national poll,
yeah,
it would be no. But I have one in mind.
There's one character that I feel like. I mean, a lot of the characters come across as a little racist sometimes, where it's like, oh, like this alien is clearly supposed to be like, you know, a Filipino luggage handler.
Right, exactly. That was in Phantom Menace, right? They had these aliens who were like, oh, it was like basically like listening to Mickey Rooney from Breakfast at Tiffany's.
But even like the first, like I think this might have been in Return of the Jedi or maybe Empire Strikes Back, but like the guy that sort of took over for Han Solo when he was like frozen in carbonite or whatever, and was flying the Millennium Falcon with Chewie. But he was like this little Asian-looking guy.
Oh yeah.
And like he would just sort of like mumble like very, you know, like sort of semi-Asian sounding stuff.
Oh, you thought he was? I thought he was like Mexican, like space Mexican.
Space Mexican. You were fooled by his giant sombrero. Like that's the worst part is that he had him wear like the Mexican flag and like.
I always thought like because like in was a Return of the Jedi or Empire, like when Lando Calrissian was like when he was like flying the Millennium Falcon,
right?
Like and he's sitting in the cockpit. They should have been just like a bunch.
Oh wait,
of...
you know what? It was. It must have been. He must have been a co-pilot to Lando Calrissian. Now that
he was.
Okay, all right.
I think like when he was like in the cockpit, there should have been like a bunch of like empty like Colt 45 cans.
Right. Like some like Pam Grier passed out in the background.
Hey, just because I'm in space doesn't mean I don't want to get my groove on.
Exactly. Somebody call her an Uber.
So we're here at Gestalt,
right?
And they were closed for 2 weeks because. Every once in a while, one of the many characteristics or like endearing characteristics of Gestalt is that every once in a while it rains inside. And I'm not talking about like that scene in like Oh God with John Denver. And
as I'm sure everyone's mind went to that. Like,
I know.
Like, you mean like John Denver in Oh God,
Jesus
Book
Christ.
1?
Christ, Andrew, can we just go one podcast without talking about George Burns and John Denver? But yeah, so there's a SRO, a hotel above us.
Okay.
And every once in a while,
a standing room only hotel.
And it leaks in here. So you know, if you're at
hopefully water most of the time.
Yeah, we hope water. But if you're at the Tonga room, they have like a little swimming pool, and then like part of the appeal is that it rains inside, and they play. Like here, it does the same thing, but it's not as charming.
Exactly, but you know what? The food costs a lot less here.
The what?
The food costs a lot less here, so like
yeah,
you got to expect a downgrade in the entertainment.
So anyway, basically it started raining in here, and they're like, well, we got to do something about it. So they shut the whole bar down, and I guess they did some improvements. Although I just talked to Ryan, the bartender, and like he's like basically what they did is they shot a bunch of foam.
Yeah.
Onto the roof here.
Space age foam.
Yeah, it's like I don't know anything about this shit, but like yeah, they shoot this foam and it's supposed to sort of like stop the water from coming in.
Yeah, it seals
but
everything
even
off.
like the bartender was like, he told them like, yeah, you know what, that's not gonna fucking work. Like that doesn't. Like water doesn't like just go, oh, foam, I guess I'll just fucking dissolve.
I guess I'll just go back where I came from.
Right, exactly. Like water will always like find another way to go, and so it's like even if you stop it here, it's gonna go like leak down the other side. Then you have to like fucking like fix the
then
wall.
It's someone else's problem.
So
like the idea is that hopefully it will run off into like the one of the crazy boutique stores next door, and it'll ruin like $1 million worth of inventory.
Even if it's so, even if even if it is a temporary opening here, it's just so nice to be back because they have like pinball here, and you know, like I can hear the sounds of pinball. I can hear fucking the sounds of people playing dice behind me.
I know. I was gonna say like normally in this bar you're gonna hear a lot of pinball, but like the reason we're shouting this time is because like a lot of our friends are behind us like playing dice like assholes. And watching a very loud Warriors game, which, like, you know, we'll talk about in the next segment. But you know, I can see why the Warriors game is exciting, but none of them care. They're all playing dice.
Everybody's playing dice. Everybody's losing money on dice. So, because basically, when you take away the place where you lose money, people get really upset.
They do. They're like, I got all this money lying around. What am I supposed to do with it?
What am I supposed to do with that? And then, what do you want from me? Okay, so let's change gears just for a little while. It's been a while since we've done a podcast.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, and we've both had, and this is like going to be the old man complaining part of the podcast for sure. But
yeah, we both have. It's a very weird thing. It's kind of like when women like work in the same enclosed environment, and like their periods get like synchronized together.
Exactly. Like our bad habits have synchronized at the same time in order to so our bodies are decaying at the same time.
So here's the thing: it's not a competition, but we both had dental work done.
Right.
And so what did you have done?
Well, I had.
Was it cosmetic?
It was not cosmetic.
Was it elective?
I look the same. I have not yet achieved my goal of getting plastic surgery to look like Kato Kalin, but I'll keep trying. No, I had and I may have talked about this on the podcast because why not? But like last year, I had like a tooth implant done, like a molar screwed into my head.
You had tooth augmentation.
Yeah, basically.
You had implants put in.
Yeah, I mean like. You think about it as being this like great advanced technique, but then you get there and they just like basically like jam a bunch of. They do like remember like when that oil spill was happening and they're like, we're gonna try like a garbage shot. We're just gonna throw a bunch of garbage at it and see if that stops it up. Like that's kind of what they do with your gums. They just take like old like eaten ribs and like and cow bones and stuff like that, and then just like grind them up and put them up in your mouth and then hope that forms around like the screw they put in there to like make a new bone in you know.
So you're
for
basically
your jaw.
saying that they try to turn your mouth into a dump.
Exactly, exactly. They just fill it full of like ground up animal bones and hope something happens by like doing a voodoo curse on it or something. But
so
like,
what was the procedure? Like you had to get a tooth removed or replaced?
Well, yeah, basically like they took the tooth out because it was bad, and like they took it completely out and then they just replaced it with a fake tooth. But it's like. But they screw it into your jaw so that it's more like it's not like a.
Did they use a Phillips head screwdriver for that?
Yeah, I think like one of those NASCAR tire removers.
Hand me that ratchet wrench.
Yeah, like the guy that like did it like smelled like oil and everything. Like he's like a mechanic, you know. He's like,
is he wearing? Yeah, he's wearing like a NASCAR jersey.
Yeah, exactly. He's like had like Snap-on tools.
Andrew, if you if you go to a dentist, you should go to a professional.
Yeah, like Snap-on tool catalogs with like hot chicks all over his office. But like, so anyway, like they, I guess in the last 6 months or so, one of my bottom teeth, this was one of the top teeth, but one of the bottom teeth grew a little bit, or like got pushed up a little bit, and started smashing against the top tooth a lot, and like pulverized all of the bone in there, and so it got all loose, and like, anyway, long story short, they ripped it out, and like they're gonna try again next week.
Wait, really?
So,
You have to go back?
Yeah, still.
Oh man,
But, like,
well,
it's at least the abject like total pain part is gone because they ripped it out.
that's a perfect place for me to start with.
Yeah, please. Now go on. If everyone isn't sick already, go ahead.
No. When you said like abject pain, let me tell you something. I've always been told that tooth pain and ear pain are the worst because they're constant. And I had what happened with me. I had like I split a tooth, a molar in the back, and I have no idea how I did. Like people are like, "Oh, what are you smoking meth?" I'm like, "No, it's just like something that happens."
Like not smoking it, chewing it.
But actually, if you go back to on one of Dana Gould's podcasts, he had April Richardson on there. She's a young comic, and she said that the exact same thing happened to her.
Oh, wow.
Where she just like split a tooth, and basically when you split a tooth, the infection just leaks into your jaw. So not only do you have this, what do you call it, like nerve pain?
Yeah.
But you also have this infection. It's like when I went to go get it removed, I said to the dentist, I was like, yeah, it's all down here below my jaw hurts. He's like, yeah, that's just the infection, like seeping into your jaw.
Don't worry about it.
Like it's the most natural thing in the world, damn.
That's just cancer leaking into your head. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. But so basically, like for a week, I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I basically had to.
That's the worst part about that too, is that like when you're like prone, like when you're asleep, essentially, it gets 10 times worse because all the blood's going to your head and everything.
Yes.
And so like you're exhausted from being in pain, but you can't sleep because that'll make it worse.
For about a week, I couldn't sleep. Unless I got like really hammered.
Try like I was gonna say like get hammered and then like try to stand up like a horse and like sleep, like where you just like work out like some sort of like hanging like gymnast method.
I tried that. I was like sleeping on the couch like with my head like propped up.
Right.
And so, but the whole time in my thick-headed Irish like Boston attitude was like, oh, this will
ain't
go.
Nothing Irish whiskey can't cure.
This will go away.
Right.
This will go away. So like for a week, I'm just like going through all this. I thought it was my diet. I was like, oh, cool. something that I'm eating is making my fucking face like bulge out.
Like,
with
maybe
pain.
I'm not eating enough almonds. Oh, that's a terrible idea.
And so, then like a friend of the show, Colleen Watson, comedian who lives in LA, she was crashing with me because she had some shows up here. And it was like last Saturday where I woke up and she looked at me, she's like, you know what, you don't look so well. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in a lot of pain. And I was like, I'm just going to walk around the block. And so like I walked around the block and the whole time I'm like, look, give myself this pep talk. Like, look, man, this is just pain management. You're better than your tooth. You can handle this. And
hey, fuck you, tooth. I'm in charge.
And it's probably something that's just going to go away. Like, just fucking man up.
I mean, eventually all the nerves die and you don't have pain anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly. Eventually you're going to die, and then all the pain will be gone.
Right.
So then I get back to the department, and I thought I was like, and I sat down, and she's like, look, it's like, you don't have to do anything I tell you to do, but you know there are like 24-hour dentists, and she like got on her computer. And
you should have like thrown her out right then and been like, get your quacks away from me, lady. I'm not going to any of your fancy pants medical doctors.
Stop trying to change me. What? And so she was like, look, there's like a dentist you can go see right now. And I was like, all right, you know what? Yeah, okay. And of course, then I went in there, and
he looks at me and is like, what the hell?
The dentist actually said, like, so how long has it been like this? I'm like, about a week. I was like, I just thought it was going to go away. She's like, you split your tooth. This isn't going away anytime soon. Right. And the other great thing is she asked me, like, are you taking anything for the pain? And I was like, yeah, I'm taking ibuprofen. She's like, how much are you taking? I was like, I'm just taking an ibuprofen pill.
Right.
Like 200 milligrams. She like gave me this look like, hey, it says right on the bottle, 200 milligrams doesn't do anything. And she's like, whoa, no. Like, that's not going to work. And she said, because it's the back molar.
Yeah.
She's like, you have two choices. If you want to keep the tooth,
shoot yourself in the face with this gun, or
she's like, if you want to keep the tooth, we have to do a root canal. But because it's the back molar, and you have another one right there, you just get it extracted if you want, and it'll be cheaper.
That's essentially why they did the implant with mine instead of like the extraction, is because they already extracted one in that corner. So it's like you really should have like, you know, some molars, so you're not eating everything like a goddamn camel.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if it's a front tooth or something, people are gonna see. It's like, maybe you want to keep it, or like, you know, it's like
you're really attached to it. But you know, the ones in the back, fuck that. They never did anything for me.
She was like, yeah, so like, because in the back, like, if you want, you can just like have it extracted and it'll be cheaper. I'm like, fuck that tooth. Like, get them out of here. And
what tooth are you talking about? Exactly.
The other, that's the spirit. The other great thing is when I went to see the dentist, I said to her, I was like, look, I have to be honest with you, like, I'm really hungover right now because like my whole process of like dealing with this is that like I realized that like the pain's not as bad when I'm drinking.
Right.
And she's like,
we're still talking about your tooth, right?
Listen, don't bring your parents into this.
Fuck you, Dad. What does that have to do with your tooth?
What? Oh, sorry. I thought I was on my therapist. But so I said, like, I realized that, like, the pain isn't as bad as when I'm drinking. And she goes, you know what then you should do? You should drink. And I was like, wait, what? Like, what kind of dentist are you? Aside from the most awesome dentist.
Aside from my new family practitioner.
And then she said, like, no, let me clarify that. Look,
absolutely not.
No. Doctor's orders.
There's something wrong with my hearing too. Bye.
And so she said, let me clarify. She's like, before there was any anesthetic, all dental like procedures were done with whiskey.
So,
and I'm like,
is this supposed to convince you that it's a good idea? Like, hey, you know, like, medicine used to be really backwards. So go ahead.
No. Well, think about. Oh my God, like. Okay, so for my trivia night, I was like looking up trivia questions. I wanted to throw a couple like dental questions in there, just because like it was like on my mind, believe it or not. And one of the questions I found was like 100 years ago, 1916, what percentage of the U.S. population had no teeth?
Ooh, like no teeth at all?
No teeth at all.
Jesus Christ. 100%.
50%.
Really? Wow.
Can you believe that shit? And like
oatmeal sales must have been through the roof,
dude. And also like so like what like the dentist was talking about. I guess they had like morphine back then, but like Paul Revere.
Like, you got no teeth, but we got morphine.
We got. You know, there are some solutions to this.
There's always trade-offs in life. You want your teeth? No morphine.
But it's like when I like supposedly Paul Revere was a practicing. I don't know, dentist is probably not the fucking word to use, but it's like he did dental work like back in the 1700s.
Well, actually, like one of the you know, bars that we went to in the first year of the show, I think, was McTeague's, and like McTeague. It was like a you know, it's like a novel by Frank Norris or whatever, and it's about like essentially like a Barbary Coast dentist.
Yeah, because
like dentists those days were basically like the muscular guys that could fucking beat you up. You know.
Oh, absolutely. Because like
they're just like simpletons that like to kick people in the face.
It takes some fucking strength to pull a tooth. Let me tell you that.
Oh yeah. Well, and especially when someone's fighting you on it because they're not anesthetized at all.
Yeah, they're not. No, because they're not drunk enough.
Yeah, well, and if they are drunk, they're probably like, "Fuck you, get out of my mouth."
Yeah, exactly. Like you got
that girl wants to sleep with me. Get away.
No, I'm gonna fuck that tooth. What? Well, the thing is, like, when they told me, like, okay, you had to get this tooth extracted.
Right.
Like, if I told any of the listeners, you or any of the listeners right now, you have to get a tooth pulled out, your first reaction would be, oh, this is gonna hurt. But when you are in constant tooth pain,
right,
you're like, I don't care. Like,
Oh, yeah.
let's get this fucking thing done.
Right.
Because, like, yeah, you
Do
know
what
what?
you do.
And it was very uncomfortable to get the tooth pulled, but it was like 5 uncomfortable minutes.
Right.
And now I feel like now I can get a full night's sleep.
Which is great, yeah. Like, the funny thing, like the name of my oral surgeon or whatever, like the guy that did the implant and everything, and hopefully I don't
Shout out.
yeah, shout out. But like his name is Dr. Atia, which I think was one of the names of the 9/11 terrorists, actually.
Dr. Mohammed Atta.
Yeah, I think that might be it. But it is sort of funny that, like, you know, like he's very quick, which I like.
He's like, fixing your teeth is an inside job.
Yeah, exactly. Fire can't melt braces. Like airplane fuel can't melt the inside of your mouth.
But back to what I was saying about like Paul Revere. So supposedly Paul Revere was like a practicing dentist.
Yeah.
And if you go to his Wikipedia page, they have a photo of, in some museum, the tools that he used, his dentist tools. And when you look at them, you're like, oh,
just a pair of his boots.
Yeah.
I just kick people in the face until their teeth fall out.
when you look at like these tools, you'd be like, okay, that's either something he uses to like work on someone's mouth, or to like apply like horseshoes to a fucking like horse.
Right. Well, it'd be great, like if his tools were just like a pair of pliers and a big mallet that he uses to like knock people out.
So like, here's the thing. Nowadays we have anesthetic, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, we're more advanced, but then like two assholes like us are allowed to run around like clutching our mouths in pain like it's the goddamn 19th century.
no, the next person who tells me that they wish they lived in a different age, I'm gonna fucking punch them right in the mouth. You know, because
And then they're gonna like get their teeth replaced.
if for no other reason, we have anesthetics. When you have to have
Exactly.
like when
So
the
I can
guy
punch you in the mouth all I want because we have anesthetics.
when the guy was pulling my tooth, it's like I was awake for it. But the thing
Right.
is, like, and you can still feel pressure, but I don't feel anything.
Yeah, which is
I mean,
great.
Yeah, I was still crying the whole time. But he was just like he's just like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, let's do this."
Yeah.
So there you go.
You're like high-fiving him the whole time. Let's fucking do this.
Do you think like in like 100 years from now, people will like look back at us right now and be like, "Oh my God!" Like the fucking shit they had to like go through.
I'm sure that like in 100 years for sure, like everyone will be amazed that we were awake for anything. Like
Yeah.
because like I have to imagine like anesthetic will just be like, yeah, then we just like turn you off for a while and like do all our work, like, and like the idea of like surgery done to you like while you're sitting there staring at it going, hi, how's it going? Like, we'll probably seem barbaric.
Yeah, it totally will.
Like,
I mean,
or
but-
even the idea of like taking a plane flight without being knocked out will seem barbaric.
Although, who are we kidding? This planet won't be inhabitable in 100 years. It'll be a fucking like vast wasteland.
We'll be back to like 50% of people having no teeth.
Exactly. Yeah, they're gonna love it.
Like, I'll be like spraying silver spray paint in our mouth, like
Exactly.
trying to catch up to the guy with the gas.
Yeah. All right, you want? Are we done with all that shit?
That's right.
I'm so glad.
Is silver spray paint good for your teeth? I don't know.
You know, the last thing I'd like to say about like having the dental work done, I cannot fucking believe how many friends of mine, when I started posting about having dental work done, how many friends of mine asked if I got painkillers and if I wanted to sell them.
What a wonderful barter economy we live in. Where,
I mean,
where it's like, oh, you got tooth pain, you lucky bastard.
I mean, like, not it, like, some people are like, oh, you want to sell the painkillers? I'm like, whatever happened to, how are you doing?
Are you in any pain?
You're going to go right to, like, give me the painkillers?
Right. How about if you wait until I give you an open, like, hey, I've got all these painkillers I don't need.
Right, exactly, yeah. Why do you wait for me to offer them?
Right, it's like sort of like trying to swoop in on somebody when they move in their apartment, where it's like, oh, like, you want to like give this apartment to me? No, I'm going to use it for a while. Like,
Oh, you died? Like, is anybody moving in your apartment? But like, yeah, like that, like the painkiller thing is real, and honestly, like,
the painkiller struggle is real.
it is absolutely real. And the thing is, like, I've said this before, I honestly like don't like painkillers. Like
I try to avoid like the harder, like the Vicodins and the and all that stuff, because
that's
like,
what I got.
I just know too many people that like just sort of very casually can get addicted to them, like, where it's like
absolutely. And the thing is, like, I just don't like the. I mean, here's the thing. I had no problem taking painkillers when I was in paralyzing pain.
There we go. Yeah.
See where we're going here?
Right.
But like, I cannot imagine taking them recreationally.
I think like if the people that I know that like have abused them, like generally like either work in jobs they hate or really boring, like situations where they're basically just like, I want to do my job and then I want to come home and like fall asleep as quickly as possible. It's like, all right, well,
I mean, there are only certain situations where I think like maybe you could use that. Like, okay, I'm in crippling pain, maybe,
right.
Or maybe I'm going to like a family reunion. You need a painkiller, right?
Right. Well, I think like, and there's a similar sort of, and like you can't overdose on like weed like you can like prescription drugs and stuff like that. But at the same time, there are people that like get like so into weed that they sort of exhibit the same like symptoms as somebody who's on like painkillers, where it's just like they're just like not as apt to leave the house.
Although you can die on painkillers, like that's like the big thing.
Oh yeah.
I was like washing down painkillers with bourbon, and this friend of mine just said, "Oh yeah, you're 2/3 of the way to being like a fucking like legendary celebrity." He's like, it's the last third that's the hardest. That sort of overdosing thing. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess because a lot of people like.
You're like, oh yeah, why don't you mind your business?
Why don't you shut up, Mom? What?
That's right. I thought I told you to be quiet, Doctor. You said I could drink.
And like, I know we have to like stop, but like, the last thing I want to say is like about, so somebody whose name is Drew Harmon gave me some medicinal edibles.
Okay.
Because I told him, he found out that I was in like a shit ton of pain, and I asked him, I was like, hey man, like you have your pot card, you go to like these fucking phony baloney like dispensaries, and I was like, one of the phony baloney like things that they say is that, oh, it's for pain management, right?
Right.
He gave me this brownie, and granted, I had already taken a Vicodin. But I ate just a little bit, a little corner, because he told me, like, just eat a little corner of this.
Right.
I ate a little corner of it. And I thought I was going to die. Well, I eventually got used to it, but I was like, I felt like I was on mushrooms. Like I was walking down the hall, and everything.
Edibles are like nothing to fuck with, like for sure.
Everything, when I was walking down the hall, everything is just like skipping. You know, like your vision. And I'm just like, oh, this is bad.
Oh, this is not good.
So it's like, I like sat in like the living room, and luckily my old roommate was in town. He was like, we were watching baseball together. I was just like, I have to like be around Carrie in case my fucking heart stops. But the thing is, like, for all you people out there, I'm sure a lot of you people like smoke pot, and like, we all understand. Okay, you got legalized pot under like the fake guise that it was for medicine, but it's like, maybe it's just me. Like maybe it just doesn't work for me.
That,
but like,
you have to know your strains too. I think, like, and not to sound like a fucking pothead, but I think that like,
it was
especially like
indica.
Well, see, that's the problem, because I mean, like indica can knock you out, but it can also like lead to like kind of heavy psychedelics, and like there are like strains though that are like all like this like CBD instead of THC, where it's like it's
alphabet soup.
Exactly, but it's all pain relief. There's no high to it at all. Like,
oh yeah, somebody said that there's like there's some stuff that like it doesn't get you high, and that's what some people want.
Right, exactly, and it's just it's like pure like pain relief.
I just cannot believe something that potent can get you that high.
Yeah.
They have the gall to put the word medicinal on the package. It's like, what are we treating here? Do you suffer from that condition where you don't trip balls enough? Well, fucking eat this.
I know, actually, like when I went to Chicago last year, the night before we left to come back, like, because I had brought, like, I didn't want to bring, like, fucking, like, weed with me on, the airport and all that shit. So I brought, like, I had these, like, essentially, like, capsule pills.
Yep.
They're just, like, edible capsule pills. But the thing is, like, and, like, we took those, me and my wife, and, like, and we went to, like, this, like, steak place or whatever. And, like, I don't know whether it was, like, the combination of that and, like, something like that takes a long time to digest, like a steak or something like that, because it was like
I know you, Andrew. Like, you don't like to go to a steak place unless you're fucking tripping balls.
Exactly. But like, and like we're thinking like, oh, this will make like the fancy steak dinner more fun. Well, it didn't really kick in until about 2 hours after the steak dinner, like at 11 o'clock, and we had to like wake up at like 6 a.m. for a flight. And when we woke up, we were both still fucking high as shit. And like, there's nothing worse than like being like sort of semi-sleep deprived, having to like go to the airport and like catch a flight while you're fucking like high out of your goddamn mind. Like, there's nothing less fun.
There's no better combination than being like fucking super high and having the meat sweats.
Yeah, and going through security procedures.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing I want to say is to all of our TSA listeners, I have a new cavity for you to search in the back of my mouth.
I also have a new cavity to search. It's called my asshole.
Which one of the things that when you get like a fucking tooth removed, they give you this long thing where it looks like a hypodermic needle, but it's curved, and that is, you use that to jet water into your cavity to get the food stuck, get unstuck.
The worst.
So it's like, yeah, I have this new hole in my mouth where I can store food and or drugs.
Exactly. Like,
so
if anyone wants to know what my drugs are, fucking reach inside my mouth.
Maybe a little bit of both, depending on like where I'm going.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, this is SFBarkast. Let's take a break.
Oh,
I know that was a long. We're gonna go long in this one because I know we haven't seen each other in a while.
Exactly.
And also,
we got dental procedures to talk about.
Yeah,
what are we supposed to do? Like, not talk for half an hour about them?
Yeah, exactly. So. Our apologies to put your hands together. Who is coming on after?
We'll be running over.
All right, this is SFBarkast. We'll be back from Gestalt. All right, and we are back at Gestalt on. We didn't even say where it is, although
people should know.
16th,
you have Google, right? Yeah,
16th Street,
16th and Guerrero, essentially.
That's like back in the old days when the television would say, "We're going to pause now for station identification." It's like, wait a minute. Why don't people in their own home just look forward at the TV and see what they know what station it's on?
Yeah, exactly. No one's like calling the station being like, "What am I watching?
Right,
you didn't say what the station name was."
Like, how about you just like lean forward and look at what your fucking station you have it programmed to?
Exactly. Like, or just like look at your channel thing and see what number it says, and then work backward from there, like fucking Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, we're there. Okay, great. So
take that, people in the past.
Exactly. I'm doing a lot of shitting on people in the past, like whether it's like their dental practices or their television practices.
Right. Oh, I bet those Paul Revere was a shitty television viewer. I bet.
So this is our sports report, and honestly, I don't have a whole lot going on in sports right now because I was in Vegas. Okay, well here's the thing: I was in Vegas for a little while.
Yeah. How'd that go?
Very poorly.
Oh no.
Yeah. Like I said in the past, I don't think I've ever come in contact with something that I love so much as sports gambling. But by all indications, I suck so hard at it.
See, I think the secret is that.
Tell me the secret.
You have to not bet on things that you like.
No, I don't.
Because I think that what's great about the NCAA tournament and stuff like that is that upsets happen all the time.
I know.
And that's the fucking poison for a bettor. You might as well just be betting on somebody flipping a coin at that point.
I have no connection to Michigan State, but I took them to win it all, and of course they were done in the first half of the first afternoon.
Right, exactly.
Thanks a lot, Drew Harmon.
Yeah, really. Fucking Thanks for your zero support of Michigan sports.
Yeah, and I just could not fucking get anything done. I couldn't win anything.
Right.
So
it's weird.
Happened.
The bracket that we were in, basically. Annie Southworth from the Right Spot. I believe she won the whole thing, but I finished second, and our brackets were almost identical, except I think I had Kansas losing which actually happened. Wait a minute. I had who the fuck did I have winning the whole thing? I think I had Oregon winning the whole thing, and she did too.
She had Oregon winning the whole thing.
Yeah, and So we both like lost all the same stuff, except she chose Kansas to get into the Final Four, I think, and I didn't.
Yawn.
Or something like that. Yeah, whatever.
But aside from that, I mean, baseball started. Are you excited about that?
You know what? Like, I'm excited because it looks like it'll be kind of a fun season.
So
Even though, like, none of the, I mean, like, I think the Red Sox will be interesting. All they need is like 2 through 5 starters on their pitching rotation, but like other than that, they're fine.
Here's my problem with the Red Sox. It's like I really, and I'm talking to you Red Sox fans out there.
Right.
I really was upset at the way the Red Sox fans turned on Pablo Sandoval after one bad season.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I get it. He got like a $92 million contract.
Right.
But, like, yeah, like, he probably hit like 240 or something like that. Like, not that great. But, like, they made it seem like he was fucking Hitler. Like, it was, and so, like, all I wanted for the, if I could have one baseball wish, it would be for Sandoval to just go off, win the MVP, and just shove it down all those fucking Red Sox jacket. Because there's a tinge of why are we paying this guy, and why and this guy, and by this guy you know what I mean.
It's like Phil Hartman and talking to Michael Jordan, and that's why we got to play Blackie all the time.
And I get it. It was a bad contract they signed him to. So, like, all I wanted was Pablo Sandoval to come back and just fucking kill it this year, have like an MVP season. And
well, the weird thing about giving him that big of a contract was that, like, if you watched him at all, you would know that, like, he's not like a fucking day-to-day like stat machine. He's a guy that, like, you know, has like passion in the postseason and will like hit like quality dingers in the postseason, and that's it. And so if you don't make the playoffs and you're like, well, fuck this guy. Like, well, you don't even know what he's good at there.
Well, here's the thing. I don't hear the same amount of vitriol for the white guy who signed him to that stupid contract. You see where I'm going here? So, and I understand it's a bad contract. He didn't like perform.
Right.
So I really wanted them to do well this year. And of course, like right before like opening day, they decided that they benched him. Like he's not a starter.
Wow.
And there's no room for him to hit because Ortiz is already the DH.
Yeah, so he's actually doing pretty well.
So they have this $92 million guy who's pinch hitting.
Well, I mean, and the Yankees are in sort of the same boat. Like, how many games are they going to start like Alex Rodriguez at DH and or Teixeira for that matter? Like, they're both like pretty much, you know, useless at this point, and they probably make like a combined like $300 million.
Yeah, it's true. Although the Yankees have, I mean, well, here's the thing: the Red Sox also are a very rich team.
Yeah.
But the Yankees
hard to feel sorry for them.
Like, they can make bad mistakes like that.
Yeah.
Like they can afford to like sign Jason Giambi to like a 10-year contract, and he's only going to be good for 3 of them.
Wait, did they do that this year?
Or like, you know, like the fucking Albert Pujols contract for the Angels. So
right.
They have a lot of money down there, so they're like, oh yeah,
sure, why not?
I mean, that guy sucks.
Yeah, like all the sort of like guys that like you could sort of suspect might be on like steroids, like a lot of them just stink now, and like and plus a lot of them aged and got older, but like at the same time, like
also a lot of them like have it's so like sad because you see this all the time where people say, especially in fantasy, who's in a contract here, end of their contract. So like if they're playing at the end of their contract, they have these great years.
Yeah.
And then like the Mariners sign them, and
they suck.
And they suck. What was it, Beltre?
Beltre did that. I mean, like Cano's been pretty good, but like other than that, like they have terrible luck with that. Like what's his name, Justin Smoke, and like all these like fucking like who was the other guy? They signed another guy with
Nelson Cruz this year.
Well, Nelson Cruz, and but when they signed Beltre, they also brought in like that guy from Milwaukee that like hit like a ton of home runs, and they both didn't do anything, but like.
I feel like there's something about like maybe the weather up there or something. I feel like power hitters don't do that well.
Yeah.
And unless your name is Ken Griffey Jr. and you're playing in the fucking dome.
Right. Yeah.
Like power hitters don't do that well up in Seattle.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Like I mean, it's who knows?
Anyway, the Warriors are still chugging along.
They're still, I mean, like they still have what is it? ESPN like calculated as a 14% chance of breaking the Bulls record.
Really, 14%, because they have to win out, and there's only like 4 games left.
Yeah, but they have to win. They have to win on the road tonight in Memphis, on the road in San Antonio. Which I'm sure that'll be who knows if they'll do it or not. It's been I can't believe that like the Celtics beat them at home for their first home loss of the season.
Yeah, but you know what? If you watch that Celtics game with the Warriors, and then 2 games later they played the Timberwolves at home.
Yeah.
And they lost to the Timberwolves at home.
Right.
When you watch both those games, you're kind of you know what? These guys are gassed.
Well, how can you even get up for a game like that? Against the Timberwolves, at home.
They're not. I mean, by no stretch of the imagination are they a bad team or are they slipping. But they're just gassed. The NBA season's too long.
Yeah, it totally is.
Because for the last month, people are just look, can we just skip to the fucking playoffs?
Right.
Because everybody wants to see the Warriors play the Spurs.
Right.
And I honestly feel
no one wants to see anything else. But
There's so many teams that are just they've been eliminated for weeks now.
Oh yeah.
And it's just they're just fucking bottom feeders. They don't have any reason to go out there and play.
Speaking of which, I loved. I don't know how much you saw of that GM for the Sixers resignation letter and all that.
I didn't realize. I hear it was hilarious. What happened?
It's funny just because it's so pretentious and it's he still tries to act like he had this big master plan, even though the Sixers have been a joke for
Yeah. So the Sixers basically when a sports team has decided they're in a rebuilding year, they tell everybody hey, you know what? We're gonna suck for a little bit,
right?
And
we're
then
gonna suck on purpose.
The Houston Astros was the best, most recent success story about that.
Yeah.
The Houston Astros said yeah, you know what? We're gonna suck for a couple years or maybe 3 years, and then we're gonna be good. And that's exactly what happened. Now they're good.
Right.
I
feel that works in baseball a lot better than it works in basketball though.
Yeah. Well, the Sixers, they're professional failure artists.
Yeah.
It's they go out there and they just they're basically tanking to get higher draft picks,
and then they fuck up the draft pick.
And the draft picks they draft are either hurt or they suck.
Right. Well, and that's the funny thing is that's part of the plan. They're oh yeah, if we get Joel Embiid and he can't play for 2 years, then we'll get even better draft picks. And it's well, wait, so you just want to suck as much as possible forever?
They will fuck that up.
Right.
They will totally fuck that up. So
and they drafted Carter Williams and then traded him. What are you even doing?
Yeah, they had the rookie of the year, and they were well, just because you're the best rookie in the year doesn't mean you're going to be good for us someday. So we might as well trade you.
Ooh, we can't get the #1 pick with the rookie of the year. We got to get rid of that guy.
So what was the deal with the GM that resigned?
Yeah, he just he had some 13-page diatribe on his way out about how he's actually right and
Just walk out
and
the
in
door.
20 years the Sixers are going to be great and it's all going to be his fault. It's he's nuts. There's a million things that could happen between now and then, and he's I'm going to take credit for all of it.
There was somebody. The last time I heard it was something like that, Bobby Valentine.
Oh yeah.
He coached the Red Sox.
Right.
And
a shitty restaurant in Stamford, Connecticut.
And then after he left, the Red Sox in 2013 went on and they won the World Series. And he had the unmitigated gall to say that he fully expected that if they had kept him, they would have had the same success. It's look, man, you're a shitty coach.
Right, you were fired for a reason.
You're a horrible person. Okay, so that's why you got fired. The only other thing I have in sports going on right now is the Masters is going on. You want to make a Masters prediction? We have one.
Oh God. Let's say. Is Justin Spieth still winning? That's the only thing I read. But
I think he's still the leader.
All right, so I'm gonna say Ernie Els comes back.
Have you ever gotten into golf? Do you like golf?
You know what? Golf is good to have on in the background if you're hungover, but bad for anything else.
It's like wallpaper.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like Mark wallpaper. Mark Wahlberg paper.
But it's like, like golf coverage is fantastic if you're hungover because like they're whispering and they're nice. And, like it's just like it's all like bird sounds and like
let me tell you, if you're hungover, the greatest thing to watch is golf.
Oh yeah,
because like everybody's quiet. It's like they know you're hungover.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody's like whispering. It's
Exactly.
like, oh yeah.
See the occasional bird or something like calming. It's like there's never like a hawk or an eagle that like swoops in and like like it wakes you up or anything.
Yeah, there's not some like apex predator like bird.
Well, it's not like miniature golf where like suddenly there's a big clown going like like or something. It's like.
Speaking of birds, okay, and like that's got to be it for the sports report. Speaking of birds, but one of the things like I like talked at length at how like Bernie Sanders bros like upset me, even though I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter.
That's the thing, yeah. I feel the same way. I support what their cause is, but I hate the way they're going about it.
Oh, absolutely. But like recently at a rally in Oregon, like a bird landed on Bernie Sanders' like podium.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
And all these like fucking Bernie supporters were like, "This would never happen to Hillary Clinton." I'm like, you know what? You are so full of bullshit.
Right.
Like a bird's just like, "Oh, I can tell that bitch is corrupt."
Exactly. Like, I can tell she doesn't actually say what she means, whereas Bernie has, he has credibility.
Like Bernie's like fucking St. Francis of Assisi with all these fucking animals like fucking like coming around him. It's just like, dude, get over yourself.
Like if Hillary Clinton touched a bird, it would just like shrivel and die like a flower.
Hillary, like to Bernie bros, Hillary Clinton is basically that old lady in like Snow White giving out poison apples.
Right. Well, I love like one of the things I love that like the Bernie bros are sort of doing like recently was like there's some quote from Hillary Clinton like where she's like it's something really simple where it's just like if hedge fund managers like ran a school, it would be like this way, or something like not groundbreaking, not like super original. But then like all the fucking Bernie bros go like, yeah, he said that like 6 months ago. Nice try, bitch. And it's like, well, no, it's a really like it's a really simple dumb point. Like Bernie Sanders is a great guy and everything like that, but he didn't invent like fucking democratic socialism. Right.
And I just want to know what's going to happen to these people. Like I honestly feel that Bernie Sanders in Philadelphia, he's going to make a great speech at the Democratic convention.
Right.
But all of these Bernie bros are going to miss it because they're going to be too busy building their fucking huts off the grid in the woods where they fucking belong.
They're all going to miss it because they're going to be like too busy beating off to his speech.
Right, well, it's going to be like, nobody appreciates me. I got to go fucking live in the woods.
Well, good luck with that.
All right, you want to take a break?
Sure, why not?
All right, this is SFBarkast. We're at Gestalt. We're back. We're at Gestalt. And Gestalt is back. We're back. Yeah. Gestalt's back.
San Francisco's back.
We're all back. And we'll be back.
Slapping at the band of your whiteness sandwich. But we don't got bread.
All right, and we are back at Gestalt in the Mission.
16th and Guerrero.
I'm waiting for Andrew to say something. Yeah, 16th and Guerrero.
Welcome, everybody.
There you go. And we have a special guest today. We have comedian.
No, fuck you.
Jane Harrison.
I prefer Come Diane. Thank you very much.
Wait. Okay, so the I was like baiting you on that one, okay? Because
you were dating me?
No, baiting you.
Okay, you're dating me, and I was like,
the
Jeff, I think you might have misunderstood our relationship a little
If you're
bit.
talking to me, that's a date.
Yeah, that's true.
A verbal contract.
No, but I was baiting you because like I've talked to you before, and like you said, like one of the things you hate is the word comedian.
Yes.
And like you already know that I love you, but
Aww.
One of the things I love, like one of the main things that you said that I love is like I remember like we watched the Oscars together, right? And you were like, yeah, you know what? Isn't it kind of like outdated that they have like awards for men and women different?
Yes.
And so and there's also comedian and comedian.
Yes.
And people.
Chris Rock mentioned that in his monologue this year when they were talking about race and different categories and stuff. He mentioned the comedian, or the fucking actor versus actress thing, which I still think is crazy.
I mean, don't you count? Although, here's the thing: I would be in favor of keeping the actor and actress thing, but not because one is higher than the other, but just because you cut into the amount of awards.
Right. Why don't they just add another best supporting actor award then? Best bit part.
Best
cameo.
Best guy we thought of hiring for this movie, but then didn't.
Best surprise performance.
Best questioning trans actor.
That's the thing. You can't. What happens when they start having more trans actors? Are they going to put them in actress or actor?
Well, you're right. Exactly.
Right. Their choice.
Gender is being destroyed, motherfuckers.
Gender is over. In 100 years,
there'll be no gender anymore.
There's not going to be any gender anymore.
I'm fine with that.
But like we said earlier, in 100 years, this planet's not going to be inhabitable.
No,
so enjoy it while
my children will be dead. If I have them, they will be dead.
Best cindering block of rock.
Yes.
Earth.
Best zombie killer.
Do you give out awards for atmosphereless, uninhabitable planets? Because we're the best of that.
Best underground bunker homemade video.
So, Gene, you were
best
on
light-free fish.
You're recently on the YouTube sensation Vice magazine show Flophouse.
Yeah.
It's beyond YouTube at this point. They have their own real channel.
Yeah, it's a real hit on YouTube. I know that the premiere had 1 million views and
Really?
then 6,000 negative comments. So people
pretty
don't
good,
like
average.
people doing comedy
Wait a
very
minute.
much.
So, Jane, what you're saying to us, and newsflash, YouTube commenters were negative?
Yeah,
Wrong.
I can't believe it. You know what? It is kind of they have to really dislike something to do that. People have to really be like, I fucking hate this.
But watching Claire O'Kane struggle is pretty hateful.
No, don't even. No one can besmirch the good name of Claire O'Kane.
Oh, and
to
I
me.
wouldn't dream of
Mike,
it, but I know that she is the laser focus of that show. I bet for negative comments because she looks very young.
Yes.
And
she's beautiful and very funny.
Exactly. So of course everyone's gonna hate her.
Here's Claire's problem, and also your problem, and Joey Avery's problem.
Right.
You're all really attractive.
Yeah, we're too beautiful.
And let me tell you, I've seen it happen with Joey Avery. People, even after he gets off stage, another comic will be like, that guy's super attractive and he's really funny. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, but the thing about Claire and Joey is that they're also, I don't know about myself, Claire and Joey are immensely likable people. You just talk to those people for 2 seconds and you're like, you're my favorite person at this party. They're
But
that
I think that
person.
on that show specifically, because I can understand if you have a conversation with Claire and you know her comedy, she's a delight. She's great. When she sort of jumps into a scene and is just kind of I'm Claire O'Kane, I can see people outside of Los Angeles being fuck that person, and fuck millennials, and just sort of
I think,
millennial
it's a
thing.
whole millennial problem. Well, it's
Yeah.
also, the thing is, that was the pilot, and people were trying to figure out, they were putting it together, so they were trying to figure out how the show works. And I think that, one of my professors in college is the film critic for the Hollywood, or the TV critic for the Hollywood Reporter.
Okay.
And so he had a scathing review about the Flophouse.
Is he really catty?
He's the bastard machine, is what they call him.
Wow.
Tim Goodman. And he was a great teacher, and I really liked him a lot. But he his whole thing is that he's no holds bar. I'm gonna talk shit. Which is, if you're
takes.
a critic, you gotta do that. There's no point in being the nice critic. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But he was also, they were talking about how cloying and annoying all these young comedians who think they're funny is. Which is
Totally
understandable,
unfair, though.
but also This is like all of those comedians in LA are so hungry, like literally hungry, like not figuratively hungry, like starving hungry, working terrible jobs, trying to be successful. And then someone's like, hey, do you guys want to be on TV all together with your friendships that you like?
Oh my God, yeah. Like
And so it turned out that it looked like all these people were like, we're the best. And it's like, no, this is all these people have.
Oh, totally.
It's
Yeah,
this
yeah.
community.
Isn't it? But also, like, don't you kind of feel? I saw something recently about like the sort of like the culture of negativity.
Yes.
That it basically has hit its zenith because of the internet.
Yeah.
Where it's like everybody has like internet muscles where they can talk shit about whatever.
I
But it's
took
like,
a CCSF class on interpersonal communication for credits for my college. And one of the main things we talked about was the internet interfering with the way that you interpret human interaction. So you can look in someone's face and say something mean, and they'll get sad and mad and punch you. But if you're on the internet, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
you're
Right.
insulated.
you're
And you
out-
don't have to see anybody's face fall
Right,
or
right.
anyone's dreams be crushed.
Jane, also, okay, like that is one interpretation, but also, like, yeah, you don't get to see their face get like disappointed, but also you don't have to worry about them like winding up and punching you in the fucking
That's
mouth.
what I'm saying.
Like that, I don't know, it's not about like, oh, I think I hurt this person's feelings. Face to face, you're like, oh, maybe I won't say this because maybe someone will fucking hurt
I think
me.
like the weird thing about like the sort of state of like fame and like and everything like that today, I feel like is that people like especially like negative YouTube commenters and everything like that. But people I think legitimately think that all fame and success in art is a scam of some sort. At this point, you're basically like a Kardashian. Like
Right.
how did you fucking do it? How did you? And even like it sort of came across like with the whole Amy Schumer thing that happened, where like like recently where she was like included in like that Vanity Fair like sort of like overweight people issue or whatever like that, and like she was like, I'm not overweight. What are you talking about?
Right.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like but there was like a backlash against that where people were like, oh, but she was fine cashing all the checks for being the overweight comedian, but like now she's against it.
I have a
Like,
lot of
she
opinions
didn't
on that.
scam her way into being
I have a
famous.
ton of
like,
opinions
Do
on
they
that.
make out checks to overweight comedians?
But it's like that. But the whole like attitude of a lot of people seems to be like, if you're famous and successful at something that I don't understand, then you fucking scammed your way into it. You don't actually have talent. Nobody has talent.
Yeah, nobody's
Like,
actually worked hard.
right, exactly. It's so weird.
In this day and age, you cannot like getting in between someone's privilege to complain about something.
Right.
Is like getting in between like a bear and her cub. Like you cannot take that away. People want to complain about so fucking much.
Oh, yeah.
And
Like,
I guess
and anything.
like,
Including you two.
and YouTube, yeah, you just gotta.
I mean, you two, not YouTube.
yeah,
The two of you.
I hear what you're saying. YouTube is awful.
Yeah.
But like seriously, there are people. I mean, back not to sound like an old man, but back in the old days, the only really good complainers were like bitchy gay men.
Yeah.
And now it's
Back in my day, people
mainstream.
knew how to complain in the
like-
closet.
Yeah, remember like the men like at the Oscars like making fun of like women's dresses and stuff. It was just like now like everybody does that
Right.
shit on a daily basis.
It's very strange to me because it's like everybody has these new outlets. Like the overweight thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it gets into a really complicated conversation for women.
Sure,
Because
yeah.
it's like, hey, we want to support women who are overweight, but also
Yeah, exactly.
don't
It
think
puts
that
her in a
this
weird
kind
position of like,
Oh,
yeah,
are you
I'm
talking
not,
over me as a woman right now?
Hey, shut up for
trying
a
to
second,
make a
Jane.
point,
I have
Mike.
something to say.
No, it's just like the whole thing is that we should not be looking at each other's bodies at all. So you get into these very
There's a
complicated
niceness about it.
about looking at each other's bodies. Yeah, I agree. All bodies, but that's the thing. All bodies are good. But when you start being like, we're supporting overweight women, then you're like, oh, you're naming overweight women as
no,
overweight.
And that goes back to saying like, oh yeah, like I want to support a female comic. Like no,
You want to support
like
comedians.
a comedian that you like.
Right.
How about that?
It's like if you saw like a good black comedian and you went up and said like, I love you because you're a black comedian.
You're my favorite black
They're
comedian.
gonna be like, what?
If you went over to Kasim or like any black comic and said, I think you're one of the best black comics I've ever seen, they would be rightfully insulted.
Right.
Like, but the thing is, like, don't you kind of feel like people's like first inclination is we need to categorize shit. So it's like, she's
it's
a plus
human.
size model. Like,
Categorizing is a human thing in order to determine threats or good things.
No, but
And that's the fucking problem, is that you identify things that are outstanding or different. It's like seeing somebody in a wheelchair. You don't go like, oh my god, a wheelchair person. You go like, oh, I haven't seen. It's a
most
wheelchair
people
person.
You say,
that.
you're my
Yeah.
favorite wheelchair comic.
Right.
And they're like, I'm not a comedian.
No, but like if you see
Gotta be.
somebody with a burned, like super burned face, what do? Do you like try not to look at them, or do you look at them?
Yeah, I know exactly. Like out of politeness, I try to act like I wasn't just looking at them.
Right.
Right.
But that's a thing that's like, and it's exception to like what you usually see, but there's nothing wrong with how they actually look. It's that it feels like it's wrong because you notice it, but it's not wrong
I
because it's
try to
just the way it
pretend
is.
like I'm like burping instead of throwing up.
Yeah. Oh wow, Mike.
No, but
Okay.
like it's kind of like categorizing stuff. Like I see it everywhere. Where it's like in music, like when the band Interpol came out.
Okay.
Like everyone's like, oh, they sound like Joy Division, and then it's like your initial reaction is like, oh yeah, they do kind of sound like Joy Division. After listening to the album like a few times, you're like, wait a minute, they don't sound anything like Joy Division.
Right.
But it was just like your initial, like if you had to tell somebody what are the Strokes like? You're like, oh, they're like Velvet Underground. Or something like that, and then you realize, no, there's nothing like Velvet Underground. But that's just like how you would tell someone about it,
Right.
You know. So, but like,
The human mind is partial to pathways of familiarity and figuring out what is this. It's a category I can put into, which unfortunately ends up in a lot of discrimination and isolation. But it's this kind of thing of understanding that people are different while also not associating specific things with those differences.
I should tell you that I'm going to cut like bong rip noises into this just to make like everyone sound
I'm pretty
high.
drunk, so that's probably why.
I just want to make sure.
No, I just always hit the same. Oh, Rebecca the Gestalt, which, guys, I gotta tell you, is one of my favorite bars in the city.
yeah.
They don't have the sandwiches right now, but they've got sweet, sweet sandwiches. Have you?
Oh,
how
I
much
didn't know
have you
they
guys
didn't have
talked
the
about?
sandwiches yet. Like,
How much have you talked about the bar so
About
far?
what?
About the bar so far. I missed it.
Oh, I mean,
so-
like-
No. We already talked about the bar. Don't
You already
worry.
talked about
it.
No, what we're doing is great.
Okay.
but it is a great bar.
It
I
is a
agree.
great bar.
It is a great bar.
I met many a cute bartender here.
Whose
Me
name is,
too.
Whose name is Justin.
The specific ones, Dustin. I was trying to be more opaque, but whatever. Throw me under the bus,
March in and
Jeff.
publish my business on podcast. Fine.
I have to tell a story, even if it's gonna embarrass you.
I'm
But,
fine
like,
with it.
You were crushing on one of the bartenders here.
Correct.
He was crushing on you, and the two of you kept, and I'm friends with both of you. The two of you kept coming, saying and asking me, like, oh, did Jane ask about me? Did fucking Justin ask about me? And I was just like, wait a minute. Like I was like, Justin, you're a bartender. Jane, you're like a hot girl. Like, why do I?
He's defined
This is
by
like-
his profession. I'm
This is the
defined
age
by
of the
my
internet.
attraction.
Why are we like, why are we doing this analog?
I'm like, why do I have to Henry Kissinger this sex date?
Because it's so much better that way. No, I want to tell my side of it, which I was like, oh, that bartender's cute. Hey, Jeff, can you ask about him for me? Like, can you be like, hey, what do you think of my friend Jane or whatever? Just like put some feelers out is how it works. And just like, oh no, what to do? I missed my thing, and then I go. And then I had to just
That's
message
exactly how I
him
sounded, by the way.
out of the. Yes, that is how it.
You're like Vinny
He was like,
Barbarino.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You got real Seinfeld there.
You're like Fonzie, where you can't say love.
Yes.
It's like a,
You were pulling at your collar. It was weird. You didn't even have like a collar on. It was very strange. But I was like, come on, just like help me out, be a bro, and be like, help me connect with this person where I don't have to like talk
So
to
then
them
you, like,
over the
turned around?
internet randomly. I hate talking to somebody over the internet randomly. So
I
I
know,
wanted you to get me a conversation started.
I think I said something to you about this. I was just like, look, I can't believe, like, I'm like this sex diplomat here, and you
Yes.
and you were
Have you
like,
never been like a wingman or anything?
no, but not for this long. It's like,
It wasn't that long. It was one night.
No. It was not one night. It was like you guys were like going back and forth, and you're like, oh, Justin Like,
No.
do you think
Like,
it's Justin going to
if
call
he wants
me?
to talk to me,
And
I'll
he's
be
like,
somewhere
is
else.
Jane going to call me? And I'm just like, oh my god. It was like, look. Like, I gotta,
Well, it ended in heartbreak anyway, so.
so it was a happy ending.
Yes, it was always a happy ending.
So, but yes, we love this bar. Dude, are we done with like the whole comedy thing?
What do you mean?
I want to congratulate you for passing your audition.
Thank you.
At the Punchline,
Yes.
which means now you're going to quit your job and spend all that sweet, sweet comedy money.
So much. That sweet $25 they pay me. Gonna get on that, survive on that for a few months, you know?
And just ride it out.
Yeah, it's all a symbolic victory. It's not a real.
You know,
Although
it's
you know,
more than a lot of people make doing.
Sure.
No, although you know what? No, it's not the money. Honestly, like I know a lot of people who had their audition. at the
It's not the
Punchline.
money.
It's not the money. It's
Although it is a lot.
It's about the status.
no, but like, and we no names, but like I've known people who've had their audition they didn't pass. So
No way.
there you go.
I'm thankful for that. I was
Yeah.
worried because I did message a lot of people going, I got an audition! And if I didn't pass, it would have been a real fucking embarrassment to get back to them with it.
So I was asking Jane earlier if like when someone passes their audition, do they have to like call someone who passed like years ago and be like, yeah, you're no longer on. Like, sorry,
the
sorry, Joe
roster
Gorman,
is
you're
pretty-
off the list.
If you didn't pass your audition, I guess you wouldn't put it out on Facebook. I fucking failed. But like, you know,
Somebody really
people
should.
would.
yeah. But then you need like.
The only thing is people get a lot of chances, so it happens you get a couple chances to audition.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not a cut dry thing. Like you get a few shots.
But still, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
Like, what did Leo Zinger say when he passed?
Oh my god.
That guy's pretty rapey, right? That's the only thing I know about him.
Pretty rapey.
Our apologies to the Leo Zinger fans who are listening.
Sorry.
Although no, I don't know. I still see him. Like I thought he was like one of those guys who like I wouldn't see again.
Nope.
Wow.
You sort of hoped.
He's
right? Like,
around.
Like kind of like
He comes to the Sunday show.
Like,
there's some comics. Okay,
like some people need to know when to stop, and apparently he's not one of them.
Although like some people,
This is a real nice thing to talk about on a fucking
don't
podcast
know
night.
when to stop. And let me tell you, this is the sound you're about to hear is the sound of the worm can opening. But Charlie Ballard.
I don't know that guy enough to like.
Okay.
I don't have any personal stories. with
Yeah,
him.
I almost think like he's
I've
he's
heard
like,
a lot, but
he's
I don't know.
generational, and like he's sort of like beyond his generation even now.
I'm
So-
just offended by that hat he wears, the like Chinese, like Vietnamese rice paddy hat.
All I remember is like I did stand up for about 4 years, and when I was starting out, it was like Joe Tobin and I were starting out, and I just remember being at like an open mic where Charlie Ballard was like Bigfooting both of us.
Bigfooting?
Yeah, like basically saying like we were like, oh
What are you
yeah.
guys doing here?
Well, we were like, oh yeah, we're like we're still trying to get our stage legs and all stuff. And he was just like, yeah, well, you know, when you've done it as long as I have, it's like, you know, like it's all
Yikes.
second nature to you. And then,
Ooh,
and then we were like, oh, this guy must be good. And we watched him go on stage and just eat a fucking assorted bag of dicks.
I like that a lot.
And
Assorted bag of dicks.
and we were just like, this is the guy that was like fucking Bigfooting us.
Well, I think like you misunderstood. Like when he said like when you've been doing it as long as I did, he meant when you've been like bombing as long as I have.
You really get your stage legs when you bomb for
That's right,
20
yeah.
years.
You really learn not to care if anybody likes you or not.
Guys, I'm a classy lady. I don't like talking shit about people on
I'm
podcasts.
sorry. You know what,
Don't
like,
bring me into
This
this.
is beneath you.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
Hey, don't worry, nobody listens.
I know. Believe me, I know. Although I'm sure my dad will. He's always the one.
Although it's like I just like love telling like comedy stories, where it's like you know people are just like, oh my god.
I've had
If
plenty
anything,
of
maybe
those.
Joe Tobin will listen and be like, "Oh, Jeff
I
says he
remember
started with
Jeff.
me."
Hey,
I remember Jeff.
I can pick him out of the lineup.
remember
Was that guy that shut up that school?
You do look like a I think.
Nice guy.
You want to take a break?
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Jane, thank you for being on the show.
Of course, I love
You're
talking to you
always
guys.
welcome on the show.
Yeah,
And
Officially, your second appearance, I think, or third.
a second.
second.
Right.
Yeah, because I think it was at the Hemlock, right? We're talking.
I wasn't on.
You and
You
Sean
were
Keith.
on briefly with Sean.
Oh yeah, I was.
third.
So it's
And
third.
then
Yeah.
the mission bar, right?
Andrew's the
Doc's clock.
Doc's
Doc's
clock,
Clock.
that's what it was.
All right.
R.I.P.
How exciting.
In the future.
Oh, yeah.
R.I.P. Doc's clock.
All right. So this is we'll be back from Gestalt. James, thank you.
Thanks.
Air, how you feel there?
All right, and we are back. This is our triumphant return to Gestalt.
Yeah,
and
what
also
is this, our
Gestalt.
10th segment tonight or something? It's like a telethon. We're in our 4th hour, I think.
Exactly. And if you call in now, we'll throw in the fucking glass figurines. I have no idea. I don't
you
want
care about these goddamn kids that can't walk. Like, send your money now.
Virtually every dollar that you donate will go to the completely fucked.
Exactly.
I want to bring in our next guest, Kevin Montgomery.
Longtime podcaster with Barkast.
Okay, so we did this
Long time, not first time.
We did this with Jane. It was Jane's third time on the show.
Oh, she's got to be here more than 3.
No, but this is her third time on the show.
I can't count.
You're coming in at you're like the Tom
9,
Hanks.
10.
Like 30th time or something.
There's been times where I just walk into the bar. I'm like, oh, you guys are podcasting here. Let me jump in.
I think there was for a very short time it was between you and Drew Harmon to see who could be on the show.
Well, Gorman was in there as well, but
Yeah.
But then we all came to the decision let's never have Joe Gorman on again.
But
Like all things, I'm a perfectionist and I must win.
And,
So
and Kevin is basically drinking his victory champagne out of the skulls of those other two idiots.
That's right.
So
And somehow Drew Harmon and Joe Gorman both had broken legs this evening and couldn't make it.
So Kevin, you used to write. Used to be like a local blogger. I want to call you a journalist.
I'm getting back into it too, so I'm not just a has-been.
Wait.
I know it's fun to describe me as a
Are we
has-been.
breaking news on SFBarkast?
Yeah, well, anyways, we don't need to get into that
Yeah.
yet.
We don't want all of
We
our.
don't want to tip some hats. here.
We don't want all of our listeners to get excited.
But go to MrSkin.com and find Kevin's new column.
So, but you used to write a local blog, it's not kind of a culture blog, but it was a
news, politics, and culture.
It was a local neighborhood blog.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring you on because let me preface everything I'm about to say by saying that in my 20 plus years of living in San Francisco, I've had very little problems with the San Francisco police force. I had one very big run-in with them, and I entirely admit that it was my fault. Newsflash,
You're still going to sue them, though, right?
no, newsflash, your host was acting like a giant diameter dickhole in front of the cops, and the cops,
That can't be right.
kind of put the kibosh down on me. Okay, so and that was the only run-in, and I do critical mass every month,
Right.
and the cops are always there. But recently, there've been this rash of SF cops just blowing people away with lethal force, and there was one with
Kind of happening all over the country, really.
But in particular in San Francisco, in December there was the Mario Woods shooting where the cop said he was lunging at us with a knife, and then days later cell phone footage showed that did not happen. They just threw 20 bullets into a man because he was holding a knife and he was black.
There was 11 of them, and the guy. And basically, what was happening was the guy was not complying with what they were saying.
Right.
They were telling him to and he just he was like, "Fuck you guys, I'm going to walk away," and then he just blew him away.
And so
That's
on
amazing.
Thursday,
now
a
here's the
few
one.
blocks away from where we are right now,
Right.
the cops rolled up to a homeless encampment, and within 30 seconds of even putting their cars in park, they were firing bullets into a man because he was sitting against the wall, and he just wasn't, because he didn't speak English and he wasn't obeying their commands because he didn't understand them. They just started fucking filling him full of holes.
Oh, yeah.
Again.
Okay, so here, also, there's a little bit more. I want to put a little bit more
details into this. Sure.
Everybody knew.
Why didn't they shoot you?
Everybody knew who this dude was.
Well, actually, This is a side note, because you and I were talking about this on Thursday, but the guy who was shot might not be the person that everyone thought he was. There's a little bit of dispute about the identity of this person.
Okay.
We know his like legal name was like Luis something, or Jose, but like there's a rumor that it was this guy AK, and everyone knew him by his nickname. And people are trying to figure out if the guy that was killed was the guy that everyone thinks they think it is.
Okay. Well,
regardless.
I'm glad that we clarified.
The fact that there's some issue about whether or not it's the guy they think it is probably bad enough. Like, yeah, it's like,
yeah, okay. No, but here's the thing. It's like if it was the person that I thought it was, it was this guy,
a neighborhood staple.
Who, if it was, who doesn't speak English, Spanish, and he like basically his big thing is like he kicks a soccer ball against the wall.
Okay.
In this park.
Right.
And so like anybody who like knows him like think like, hey, you know what? He may be retarded, and I don't mean that in a fucking Boston
or
sort
at
of
least just
school
fucking
way.
like.
I think he may have been fucking
he was
mentally handicapped.
The person that most people know, this guy AK that used to live against the PG&E building at 19th and San Carlos, which is parallel to Mission Street, was like clearly manic. Like he had episodes where clearly manic. He had episodes where he'd like definitely walk around in circles, yelling, but he was totally harmless. Like even when he did that, if you walked past him, you'd like get out of the way. Like he didn't want to he wasn't trying to get in anyone's faces.
Okay, so now regardless of whether it is the person I thought it was or that person, let's get to the issue here. They fired beanbags at him.
Yeah, but they were shooting a pistol at the same time. It doesn't matter. They were trying to kill the guy. They wanted to put him down. You don't fire fucking 7 bullets into a person who's already on the ground. And the first shot went into his head, and brains shot out of his head, and they proceeded to shoot 6 more shots into him. You don't do that unless you're trying to put someone down for good.
Now, do you think,
or like keeping score or something?
Do you think, so first off, I'm gonna save all my vitriol because what they did is absolutely inexcusable.
Yeah.
But do you feel like possibly this speaks to police training, where it's like, hey, you have beanbags to incapacitate people, you have tasers, and you have lethal weapons that you can fire into someone's leg, and you just are trained to fucking blow people away in the head. I mean, here's the thing: if this guy was causing a nuisance, and supposedly he had a knife dangling from his belt. The three of us could apprehend that guy if we had to.
I don't think
we don't have any guns.
Right. I don't think it's just training. I think it's fucking fear. I think cops.
Yeah, I think
cops are
police
scared
culture is getting
people.
very protective.
Why?
All across the nation, every family member or friend of a family member I have that's a cop, all of their Facebook has become unreadable because it's just it's such an us against them mentality now, where it's everyone hates cops, and so we have to we literally have to kill them before they all kill us.
Why is it such a confrontational relationship that cops have with the society? And I understand it now.
Primarily because they're racist.
Well,
I think part of it.
Now it's all fired up because they've done these things. But remember that cop in Florida who got called to a noise complaint by a neighbor because these kids were playing basketball, and he showed up and he was like, no, fuck that, and he started playing basketball with the kids. That guy became an internet sensation. Shaquille O'Neal showed up and thanked the guy. That's the kind of community outreach that they need. But why are cops constantly here's the thing: if you're a cop, our society has entrusted you with lethal force. But you can't act like you're a fucking a spurned high school person that everybody's out to
I don't think
kill
anybody
you.
I don't think cops these days see themselves as being entrusted with anything. I think they think I fucking I'm the fucking vigilante for the entire community, and it's my job to kill all of these animals before they get into the suburbs.
Well,
It's crazy.
The whole thing about that thing that happened on Thursday is that my takeaway from it is that the cops found it, instead of apprehending this person without using lethal force, they just figured it was easier to blow the fucking guy away. And it's
Well, it wasn't that they could have de-escalated it. They could have done anything. Right. They could have kept their distance, but he was sitting against a wall. There was no reason for them to approach him and just start shooting. And the reason they do that, I think, is first of all, we have a prevalent feeling that homeless people are subhuman in the city. Right. Ergo, it's not
a very expensive community now.
Yeah.
You can't have homeless people wandering around.
It's we can get these homeless people affordable housing in a cemetery. Wait, what's the square foot of that? Yeah, so no, but the other thing is too is I get the sense that a lot of cops in town feel like they're immune to prosecution. And so if they feel a tinge of danger, it's well, of course we're just going to blow the person away because nothing will ever happen to us.
Exactly, yeah.
And there is a culture of impunity that exists in San Francisco that enables this behavior to an exception. It's there is no fear of any prosecution. The DA is the former chief of police.
Right.
The chief of police was rank and file for years. No one's going to ever get in trouble for shooting an innocent person.
Right.
Andrew, when you and I lived in LA, it was pretty, an accepted opinion that, the cops in LA are awful, and they're run by a fucking Nazi like Daryl Gates, and they do fucking suspicious and shaky shit all the time. But I felt for a long time in San Francisco, we didn't have those cops, and now I kind of feel like we do. I'm what the fuck, man?
Well, I almost feel like the LAPD is sort of cleaned up their act because they were so awful that they got such a spotlight on them.
They can only go up.
Exactly. It's once they hit after the OJ trial, it was I guess we can only look better from here. But I don't feel like San Francisco cops have undergone that kind of scrutiny at all. Because everyone always wants to think that cops are fucking heroes and show up to save your cat and they're great in when something bad happens to you. You want there to be a cop on your side, but at the same time it's if they're just arrogant assholes that are just roving around shooting people because they didn't get that out of their system in Iraq, then fuck that.
Right there, but am I stop me if I'm being redundant, but even if you feel you have to fire your weapon, and maybe the guy has a knife, right? Maybe he has a knife. Maybe he's even wielding a knife. Maybe you fucking shoot him in the leg.
Exactly.
Why do you why do you have to go right for the headshot?
I think there obviously has to be some sort of mentality where they're we're doing a public service by ridding the community of this vermin or whatever, where it's we won't have to fucking finance putting them up in a mental health facility or anything like that. Because I took care of it for you. I just got rid of it.
And also, they say all cops have to do is say oh, I feared for my life, so therefore I had to blow him away. The thing is, look, you're like I said, you're entrusted by society to have lethal force. We can't have people who are just shitting their pants with fear.
Oh, exactly.
And therefore shooting everybody.
It's they're obviously paid for something, and as far as I'm concerned, what they're paid for is to take a shot every now and again in the name of justice. It's the idea that you can be a cop that I feared for my life slightly, so I had to kill all these people. It's well, no, that's a crazy person. That's a psychopath. You can't
how did you
if they shoot you in the arm, yes, you can shoot them in the head. If they don't shoot you anywhere, you can't shoot them.
The problem is they want to put them down.
Right.
Yeah, but you can shoot him in the leg and then they're incapacitated, and then you can do whatever you want. Yeah, then you can grab.
But then they're gonna pull out all these bullshit statistics of have you ever seen we've seen guys shot in the leg that came back and built a nuclear weapon and then set it off.
Hey, none of you assholes. You guys have watched too many Vietnam movies, okay? None of you ask, this is not fucking, at what point does a cop's perception of a neighborhood, which it is, it's a fucking neighborhood, is basically a war zone where I have to blow people away.
Okay, and you know what, actually, this is more so than the point of like they're using violence. What's really unfortunate to me about this is a person that anyone who's lived in the Mission for any amount of time has encountered, has seen, has observed. Cops, they so fundamentally didn't understand their beat that they didn't go, oh, that's AK. Or like, oh yeah, I've seen that guy. Their immediate reaction is, he's a homeless stranger, I don't recognize him, he's acting a little manic, put him down.
Either or someone with real money, got to them and said, like, I don't like that guy hanging around my block, and they're like, yes, sir, we'll kill him right away.
No, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's like the big like .com money who's telling people cops to kill.
You know what?
Why aren't? I get the feeling that like this had to have happened like in like Pacific Heights or something like 30 years ago or 50 years ago.
Well,
like there had to be like homeless people that the really rich didn't like, and then they basically give carte blanche to the cops to like get rid of these fuckers no matter what you have to do.
Hey, how about this? Like I have like a kind of a solution that I heard from Jimmy Dore, which is
excommunicate all our cops to Russia and start over.
Put them all in gulags.
Yeah.
No,
Which is light the whole fucking city on fire and walk away from it.
No, but Jimmy Dore, who is kind of insufferable now,
Right.
his dad was a cop in Chicago.
Yeah.
And in Chicago, they had a rule that cops had to live in the neighborhood that they patrolled.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great idea.
And like, it was like, oh yeah,
that would prevent so much of it. Because again, we all live in the neighborhood. We understand the regular homeless characters. Like a person that's lived homeless, even if they're homeless, if they've been in the neighborhood for that many years, you're going to encounter them and you'll understand, oh, he's just having an episode. It's not, he needs to be fucking put down for life.
Yeah, anybody
Analyzing a threat. That's all. That's what your job is.
Any of those cops who like lived in the neighborhood would have like told all those other cops, no, I know this guy,
Right.
and he's not a threat. Put your fucking guns down. But like now, all
You're just hoping that one day they'll do that with you.
yeah, exactly.
Hey, we know this Cleary guy. He's all right.
Yeah, he doesn't. Hey, this guy does a podcast. Let's not blow him away. I mean, they don't have that many listeners, but like it's still a podcast. And hey, you know what? Podcast lives matter. Okay.
Hey, Captain, what's it rated on iTunes? Ah, damn it. Okay, shoot him.
Yeah, blow him away. But if you think about it, like a lot of these cops don't live in the city.
Right.
They're like meatheads from like Foster City who like just basically like drive up here, go to work, and you know what? Hey, I agree, it's a hard job, but it doesn't mean you can be lazy about it. Exactly. You can be like, hey, you know what? Like, I would rather blow this person away than actually fucking like wrestle them to the ground.
Right.
I think it's also this like. I mean, we could talk about this for hours.
I know, yeah.
But the racist text message scandal plaguing Mission Station, there's a it is clear that SFPD has a culture of dismissing human beings as legitimate things that should exist on this earth.
Sure.
These are fundamentally racist, violent, thuggish people that should not be a part of our community in any official capacity. And unfortunately, we give them a gun and we tell them to address crises. And the way they address them is with their thuggish, racist, vulgar mindsets. And these are fucking bad people, and they should be gone. And we don't have the power to dismiss them from our police force. And that's not going to change until we sweep the current regime that's been in power in this city for the last 20 years out of office. And we are not in a position to do that because wealth is continually taking over in the city, which is prioritizing these behaviors.
Right. But shouldn't all of that be kind of ferreted out during the academy? And I make it think if you can fog a mirror and you can do 50 chin-ups, then you can be a cop.
If all your officers are texting you, being like what's that famous example of people being like, oh yeah, everyone at 16th and Mission, thug niggers, that's their text. That's what they're texting to other officers. But that culture just
it's basically like Giuliani's Times Square, played out everywhere in the world. Everyone's hey, we can take this new community and flush everybody the fuck out.
The reality is that San Francisco especially the Mission District Police Department, is so beyond corrupt. We need a clean house and start over. There is not this is a predominantly minority community in the vulgar attitudes that our police officers, our officials have towards the members that they're supposed to serve is deplorable, and it's not going to get better until we make an example out of all the fucking pieces of shit that allow that culture to exist. We need to kick them out and tell them to get fucked.
I say Forrest Gump for president. That's what I say.
And here's a first step, if I can give the SFPD a little advice. Just as a first step, stop blowing people away.
Yeah,
okay?
good start.
If you just stop doing that, then we can move. We that's a jumping off point for progress. Okay,
that's a teachable moment, as they say.
If you can't stop blowing people away, then we have a problem. So anyway,
and on that note,
thank you. We got to wrap this segment out.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
But
you know what? I can get heated, and I might start saying things I really regret. Besides the fact that we need a clean house and things that Anyways, all right. Let's. Yeah.
No. You're right.
I'm getting heated. I'm getting fucking heated.
Well, no, I was heated. And actually, one of my favorite it's sad moments of that shooting on Thursday is.
You have no favorite moment of that. Let's be clear.
No, but the thing is
well, there's a good part.
When
minutes 2 to 3, I liked.
We have a friend who texted you.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh yeah, you're our other mutual friend Eden just had a mental breakdown in the middle of the Castro Theater because she heard who got blown away."
Yeah.
Because Eden used to live right over by there where the guy got blown away, and she probably knew the guy.
Yeah,
and
she did.
And that is the kind of reaction of a neighborhood where people know each other, and it's not it just kind of it underlines it even more that look, man, we should not have this adversarial relationship with cops, and cops should not be. Am I going too far on a limb here to say cops should not be killing people?
It's nice to know that we hate police injustice as much as we hate our teeth hurting.
On a happier note, iconic Mission District bar Gestalt House is reopened.
It's back.
We got pinball back. We'll have sausages back. We got cheap beer. We got sports.
Damn
straight. That's good. The police are thugs, and unfortunately, our political system excuses that. But hey,
all right,
Gestalt's back.
Other than that,
at least we got Gestalt.
At least we got Gestalt.
Right. Kevin, thank you for being on the show.
I'm always happy to rant.
All right, we'll be back after this. We'll wrap it up. I know this is a long one. This is good.
No, fine, yeah.
All right. All right, and we are back. Man, that was some heated. I kind of like the way the show's gone this time because we have Jane, who's very charming, and we're talking about comedy and stuff.
Right.
And then we bring Kevin on, and it's just you know what? Cops are killing people.
I know, the whole thing started with us talking about oh, my tooth. And then it's oh, comedy's funny, and it's cops are killing everybody.
I know exactly.
With a sports report buried in there somewhere.
You know what? That's what you get when you listen to SFBarkast. You're fire and ice. All right?
Exactly.
I want to give a shout. Do you have any plugs?
Trying to think. Not really, no. No, go ahead.
Great then. Awesome. I want to give a shout out to listener Dave Quiz.
Okay.
Who every time I run into him in SF, he's just when are you gonna have another podcast? He is good people. If I could give an award to someone,
I would say I guess a shout out to the SF Eagle as well, since they boosted our ratings so much. Whoever for some reason we got a bunch of downloads after the last episode.
I'm still trying to get to the bottom of that. But we had our downloads quadrupled.
It's probably something to do with the international Mr. Boot Black competition or something.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? If it was the SF Eagle, we're coming back.
Exactly.
I don't have any plugs. I don't have anything to recommend.
You know what?
one thing I will say is last night I was like, hey, you know what? I think I would like to see the new Star Wars movie, Phantom Menace, again. But I was like, oh, but it can't be out there already, like, for download.
Oh, you mean Force Awakens?
Oh, Force Awakens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. I said Phantom Menace. And oh my God, 7 minutes later, I'm watching it.
Of course.
Like God bless the internet.
Yeah.
That's my fucking plug.
Well, and I will say the trailer for the new one next Christmas or whatever.
Rogue One.
Yeah, it was great. Like,
I love Felicity Jones.
Totally on board, like already.
Yeah, I'm totally on board. Also, like one of the horrible things about that whole trailer, is supposedly like there was like this reaction where like Star Wars fans were like, oh wait, another fucking like female protagonist? What? Hey, listen, you fucking nerds. Like you've had like 6 movies of fucking like men just dominating everything, and then you have like 2 movies where like a female is like in the lead role and you're shitting your pants. Maybe you wouldn't be so fucking like threatened by women if you met some of them.
Right. And weren't waiting for the star of Corvette Summer to come save the day.
Like what the
with his
fuck?
feathery hair and bad acting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Rogue One looks great. Forrest Whitaker.
Of course, yeah. Like, I think somebody immediately like tweeted like why isn't Forrest Whitaker in every Star Wars movie? This doesn't make sense.
I'll tell you why. Because he was in Battlefield Earth.
Oh yeah.
And
he got once bitten, twice shy. Right?
You can, no matter how hard you try, it's hard to outrun a bad L. Ron Hubbard movie. So, and that is a fucking disaster of a movie. You got anything else going this week?
Nope.
I want to plug my trivia night. It's the first Wednesday of every month. I had just got like a tooth extracted before last week, and we still had a great time. I defy you, universe, I defy you to come to my trivia night and have a bad time.
Actually, even before we recorded, you were listening or you were asking a lot of the questions, and it's a great it's a great time. Like even amongst 4 or 5 people, and I will say that Jane Harrison is an amazing trivia player. Like she,
I'm so good at trivia.
I didn't even know she was here. What happened?
It doesn't make any sense.
Wait, security. No, actually, Jane, you were very good at the naming the
taglines.
The taglines of movie trailers.
Yes.
Yeah, oh my God, that was impressive.
I have too much information for a lady of my age. It's probably because I haven't gotten it fingered enough. That's
Jane,
probably
do you have any plugs?
Plugs?
Yeah.
Me, Jane, you shut up on Twitter. That's a great plug.
Oh, there we go.
But there's also I have like plenty. I have 2 shows in San Francisco on Monday nights that are really fun.
Where at?
One's at the Right Spot the first Monday of the month at 9, and then the other one's at Club Deluxe the third Monday of the month at 9.
Nice, sweet.
So I'm out. Please come to shows.
So see, Kevin Montgomery seems to be anti-police violence. Where do you come down on?
Oh God, I love police violence.
Okay, good. Thanks.
A man in uniform
Thanks,
beating a person of color, give it to me. I love it.
No, and Jane, I want to thank you for being on the show. You're like easily one of my top 14 comics in the Bay Area.
Thank you. Especially since all of us have moved away.
You're the best comedian in this room.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
Exactly. I told you this before. Every 4 or 5 years, I have to make new comedian friends.
Yes.
Because
they get younger and younger, like me.
Hey, you know what? I knew there'd be sacrifices.
Yes.
No, but because all my friends who are comedians are really good, just like yourself, and eventually you'll have to go away soon.
It's the burden of loving talented people is that they move on.
It's like that movie Good Will Hunting.
Yes.
Where it's like
if I come up here one day and you're on those steps, that's the fucking worst day of my life. What does he say? I don't know the fucking speech.
You're doing great though. No,
you know what? Every day I hope that I come up and you're not there because I know that you could do fucking better.
By the way, I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. I'm gonna make a shitty movie.
Poor Benny Affleck.
I was gonna go with Jane, if in like 5 years you're still coming over to watch the Patriots game with me, I'll fucking kill you.
That's actually true. I will be gone before that. Don't worry about that.
And also,
No,
we
she'll
don't
be
watch
a-
Patriots games together.
Yeah,
She'll
we
be
never
a
have.
visiting superstar. Like she'll be like, I'm gonna come watch the Patriots game with you because
Yeah,
I
I'll
like
bring
hanging
the
out with
camera
little people.
crew with me for that.
Well, don't forget the little people, like when you're big, okay? And with the little people, I mean,
You'll be like
midgets.
Us Magazine. Look, she's like real people. She watches
Yes.
the Patriots game with like loser guys.
All
She's
right.
like us. She does cocaine and plays poker.
Oh, hey, that's our show.
Oh, the police are here.
Oh, that's code for something, Mom.
If no one else knew that, then I would be very disappointed in them for not being able to figure that out by now.
All right, you want to end it?
Yeah, like just end it. Like that's
Let's
it.
just end it. I mean, like nobody's listening
We're
anymore.
walking away.
Who the fuck listens to this anyway? Please,
I mean,
if you
Daryl Duffy
listen to this
listens.
podcast,
Sorry.
can you like message me on Twitter? I just want to know who
No,
you are.
no. Hey, say something right now that you think that like give like a safe word, a code
Okay.
word.
That's right.
That, like, and if somebody comes over to Jane at a show,
Well,
you
no,
can say
tweet-
that.
Tweet this to me, Jane. Shut up.
If you tweet me, Jane, you shut up, pamplemousse, like the French word for grapefruit, then I will know that
they're
anyone
gonna do
gives
that
a shit
anyway.
about Jeff's life at all.
And then I will put a star next to your name
Perfect.
in my
Right.
book.
And we will invite you to shows and harass you.
All right. Are you ready to wrap?
I guess.
All right. Zoe, what's your final analysis, Phil Giuano, of this bar?
Oh, always great.
Gestalt.
I mean,
The
like
best.
Jane, you love
third
this bar?
time's charm.
Pinball, sandwiches, beer, cute bartenders, good music, all the games you want to watch.
I
know exactly.
crush on many of the bartenders myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Dice.
Come on, Dice. Yeah, if you want to come down here and lose money on Dice, I'm giving it a huge thumbs up. Big thanks to Justin and Ryan.
Yes.
And Margarita. And I guess that's it.
That's it.
All
High
right.
fives.
Jane Harrison, thank you for being on the
Thank
show. I'm Jeff Cleary,
I'm Andrew Lauder.
and we'll see you next time.